So today seems like a good day to dive in. So let's do that. Today I'm going to be touching base on friendships and or losing them, and if losing them causes you to grieve them. Before we get started, because this is one of them subjects where you be like, don't hold me. I'm going to pray that God helps me to be able to say what I need to say the way that I need to say it in order for y'all to understand it, because I don't want it to come across as me fully, It's my podcast, but I'm allowing God to use me in this podcast, and with that, I want you guys to be able to receive it. Okay. Dear God, I ask you to guide me and move me in the way that you need to move me and guide me in order to get your people to understand what you're trying to say through me. I know that I don't want to speak from a place of my own feelings. I can use me as a storyline, but I also don't want to take over what you say and how you feel about this certain situation. I want you to be able to use me in the best of my ability to be able to get them to see what you need them to see. So God, I ask that you use me in the way that you see fit to use me. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, so let's get into it. Friendships, right? There can be good friendships. There can be bad friendships. There can be associate friendships. There could be opportunist friendships. There could be disloyal friendships. There could be they're just here because I need something friendships. I mean, there's all types, right? And I've been on the side of pretty much a lot. Growing up, I was the friend who I kind of got along with mostly everybody. I didn't have a set clique. I got along with the nerds, as people would call them. I got along with the jocks, people call them. I got along with the popular crowd. I got along with the people that were quiet. I got along with everybody because I made it a point to, speak and say hi and, hey, how are you? Like, hey, what's up? Like, how's life? Like, I was always that person I'm going to speak. And I teach my kids that, like, speak. I mean, you don't know what anybody's going through. You don't know how their day started off. You don't know what's happening in their life. You don't know how a hey, hi, just to notice them, just to know that somebody sees them. You don't know what that can do. But I grew up and I would always be the type of person that likes to speak to people, and I would be the person that, oh, this is my friend. Oh, that's my friend. Oh, this is my friend. And that's my friend. And baby, my mom used to always say, stop calling everybody your friend. And I laugh because I be telling my kids the same thing now. But it's true. You have to know the part that people play in your life, because if you don't know the part that they play in your life, you don't know how to move forward with the friendship. And not only do you need to know the part they play in your life, you need to know, what part you play in theirs, right? And you do that by hanging with people. Like, I've had all type of, friendships. Growing up, I had the school friendships. If I had played any sports, I had sports friendships. If I went to different games or hung around different of my cousins who stayed in different parts of the, city that I stayed in, I had long distance friendships. I had all that. And it's crazy that I said relationships because we put a lot of time and effort into relationships. We put a lot of time into who we're dating if we like them. And all the things that I said about friendships can also go along with relationships. And we put a lot of our time and effort into relationships, and how we talk to people, how we treat them, how we want them to know that we love them, how we want them to know that we care. And then we feel like that friendships aren't the same. But if I'm being honest, maybe like 2 years ago, I grieved a friendship, and baby, let me tell you, I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't even know it was possible. So we sit and we grieve relationships when they end, and it hurt us, and we don't know why this happened, and we can't understand what I did, and we go through all these different type of emotions, and we allow relationships to sometimes control how we move on to the next. But when it comes to friendship, we don't give it that much. I'm not going to say we don't give it that much power, because we definitely do. We just don't acknowledge it. Being in friendships with people, whether close or not, is a big deal, because even when you're not in a relationship, And even if you're in a relationship, there's some things that you feel like you can tell your friends that you can't tell the person that you're dating. There's some things that you want to talk about and pass, by your friends, and you don't want to do that to somebody that you're dating because you might be testing something. Oh, I want to see if I do this. Like, what do you think about this? Is this a good idea? Like, you talk to them about things that you're thinking in your head and you're like, well, and then you also supposed to have friends that don't judge you. So you should be able to tell, say what you feel, how you feel, and they should be able to give you their opinion. I've always been the honest friend. If you listen to the last one, I've always been the honest friend, the blunt friend. I have since then adjusted that because I knew how I would come across. And I would just say, it's all love. But at the end of the day, I was never judgmental. At the end of the day, I'm not judging who you with. At the end of the day, you could be with whoever you want to be with, and I'm going to support you 100%. Now, if you tell me something and I respond to what you told me, can you really hold me accountable? Sure you can. Sure you can. You can definitely hold me accountable. But I might say it anyway. So it was given that. But growing up, I would always say, this is my friend, that's my friend, this is my friend, that's my friend, or this is my best friend, blah, blah, blah. Because I grew up with a lot of siblings and a lot of cousins. And growing up, like, around each other, we used to be around each other a lot. Like, so it was all love. Like, we had each other's backs. We argue like family do. We fuss and fight like families do. But, like, it was all love. So when I'm seeing people that I want to be my friend or they give off all love vibes to me, or I feel like they're alone, then, why can't you be my friend? Let's be friends, right? But with that comes a lot of heartache, a lot of heartbreak, because everybody wasn't raised like you were raised. Everybody doesn't know how to be a friend just because you feel like you know how. And sometimes, and I'm going to say this, just because you was raised to know how to be a friend does not mean that you've not had bad friend moments. Like, there's been times where I could have been a better friend and I wasn't. Even though I know what being a good friend consists of. Sometimes I did stuff out of my emotions and I didn't take time to listen, but I reacted instead of, listening. And that's something all in its own, all in its own. But I will say, as I got older, it just seemed like people just didn't like me, and I couldn't figure it out, because I was always the type of person, like, we could get into it and I might be mad at you for a little bit, but like, I mean, life is too short. So if you can acknowledge what you did, or even sometimes people couldn't acknowledge what they did, I'm getting to the point now where I'm letting it go. Because I'm also the type of person that feel like I got to be in control. And that's a struggle all on its own. Like, I can't move on with you if you can't admit that you was wrong. So recently, I had a couple friends, and I decided, it was my choice, that I didn't want to be their friends anymore. Because I felt like it was becoming an unhealthy thing for me. I felt like they were ignoring how I felt. I felt like I was telling them how I feel, and they were basically saying that my feelings weren't valid. They weren't trying to see where I was coming from. So I kind of decided to end the friendship. Now, this is something. So we were close. So before I decided to end the friendship, I prayed about it. I talked to myself about it. Yes, I talked to myself. It's healthy. You should try it. I talked to myself about it. I, talked to my siblings about it. I talked about it, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that I wanted to do. And I also had to make sure that, okay, if you in this friendship, you gonna still see them. Is this gonna hurt you? When I'm telling y'all, it's like the same thing with a relationship. Like, you in the relationship, you don't want to be up under that person. And if you do, if you can know that it's the best thing for you, right? But you like, do I want to do it? Because am I okay? Like, am I okay with seeing it with somebody else? Am I okay? Like, when you're in a relationship, you think about those things. I don't know if y'all do. I do. Like, I want to exalt all things to know that I'm over it. If I can see you walk on with somebody else and it not bother me, I know I'm gone. Like, I know I'm gone. This is just over. Like, so with a friendship, with me ending a friendship, I had to make sure, like, am I going to be okay with what comes after that? And I also had to decide, because with me ending the friendship, I had to decide if I wanted to say I was ending the friendship. Do I end the friendship by talking about, by sending the message saying, hey, I'm ending the friendship because I felt like this, or not, I feel like this wasn't happening, blah, blah. Or do I just act like it ain't happening and just slowly pull away? Which one y'all think I chose? Yeah, I decided to text. It was a nice text, but they weren't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? And looking back on it, now I wouldn't have did it different, because I'm one of the people that like to tell you how I feel. I feel like if it get out in the open, I don't like to be fake. Like, being fake has never been a part of my friendship with anybody. Like, I can still tell you how I feel in the nicest way. I can still tell you how you hurt my feelings. I can still address how this situation is making me feel. I can still do all those things as your friend, and I can still do all those things if I decide not to be your friend. But I really think it's fake. This is my opinion. This is just my opinion. To continue to let you text me, let you call me, and me just be dismissive, like, yeah, and then when we get off the phone, like, I don't even know why, like, you know, like, it's a no, because I don't like doing that, because I feel like that's not nice, right? Long story short, the friendship ended. It was the right thing to do at the time, but at that time, yeah, it hit me. I was sad. I was hurt. And I ended it, right? But just like I was entitled to text them and tell them I ended it, they were entitled to feel how they felt. And let's just say it was bad. It went all type of sideways, it was bad, right? But I can't tell them how to feel, because I felt the need to say I want to end the friendship based off how I felt. So now how am I telling them how to feel? I mean, it hurt. I couldn't understand. I couldn't believe. I couldn't this. And I just don't know. Like, I just don't understand. But can I tell y'all something? I understand now. Like, where I was in that season of them being my friends, where I was, every step that they helped me get through, because when I first started being friends with them, I was going through stuff, in my life, and I was away from home. So it's like God was placing different people in my life that was kind of like my friends back home, and saying, here you go, this person reminds you of this person. Here you go, this person reminds you of this person. So it's not a joke when they say people are in your life for seasons. Some people are in your life for seasons, and some people aren't in your life, for a lifetime. And they helped me get through some critical times in my life. So they were there when I needed them to be there and when God needed them to be there. But I also noticed that I was getting distracted by things that God was telling me to do, because I was focusing on a friendship. And God is like, you're struggling. You're not doing what I told you to do. I put them people right there to help you, and you've ignored me. You've neglected me. You've done this when you're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be here, and you was there. Like, you are not listening to me. Ain't that like a dad to tell you that you being hard-headed? Like, you didn't hear what I said? Ain't that like a dad? Ain't that like a mom to say, okay, you ain't hear me, so I'm going to snatch this. Okay, you ain't hear me, so you on punishment, because I know you heard what I said. And that's what God was telling me. He's like, I put these people in your life for a specific reason. You were supposed to get the reason, figure out the lesson, and move on. And if you taking them with you, you need to know that I still come first, that what I have set for you is what you need to be doing, and everything else is secondary. But it went in one ear and out the other. So as I started to grieve their friendship, and what is it? In one of the first two podcasts, I said I recommend that y'all read y'all Bible. If you haven't done it, read your Bible. And I said that I would always start the Bible and stop the Bible, because I would always see something that I didn't like, and I didn't want to listen to what God told me to do. When I ended that friendship, I read that Bible from front to back. And I heard something recently said by a pastor who said that crisis reveals who Christ is. And y'all, that was something that showed me who God was. And in that season, I was still being hard-headed, let me tell y'all. But as I would read my Bible every day, as I would listen to sermons, not every day, but I would listen to sermons, I would sit in my quiet time with God. I would try to get to know him, because at this point, he pulled everybody away from me, and I felt alone. I felt by myself, and I'm just like, I don't have any friends. I'm alone. Nobody, I just couldn't understand, like, why it was the way that it was. And God told me that he needed me to be by myself for a minute. Just like he needed me to have the season where people was there for me, he needed me to have a season where I knew that he was in control of everything. So as I'm grieving this friendship, God is steady moving me. He's placing me, like he's moving me around like on a chessboard, y'all. And me reading my Bible, like I said, still being hard-headed. He told me to stay put. What I do? Move. Did it work out? No. So what I had to do, go back. He told me to stay put. What I do, try to move again. What happened? Didn't work out. What happened? Had to go back. He told me to stay put. So then when I get to the point where I actually listen, right? Because third time's a charm. I'm just done. I'm just going to stay where he told me to go, because the man told me not to move. And here I go, keep trying to do what he telling me not to do. Like, you do not have to be in control of everything. And that is another word. Stop feeling like you got to be in control of everything. It is not your job. It is not your job. So he told me to stay put. And the third time, I moved. Everything that I envisioned in my head, y'all, in my head, in a conversation with him, I didn't even say it out loud. In my head, it came to pass in my face, because I did what I needed to do by taking the time in that season to focus on him. Sometimes we're living our lives worried about friendships, putting our friendships and the things that our friends want and what we want in our friendships over God. Sometimes we're taking relationships and we're putting them over friendships. Sometimes we're taking relationships and we're putting them where they don't need to go, and we're putting them ahead of God, when God says you can continue to do that, but you're going to keep stumbling and fall. You're going to keep falling. You're going to keep bumping your head, because I said what I said and I meant what I said. And I said, you need to make way for me. You need to pay attention to what I'm asking of you. And this is, God don't want you to be by yourself, y'all. He do not want you to be by yourself. He wants you to have the right friends. He wants you to have the right people in your life. So when I say, that the friendship was pulling me away from something, I've had plenty of good friends in my life. And even though I ended that friendship, it wasn't that they were not good friends. When I think about the situation, honestly, my expectations for that friendship might have exceeded what they thought a friendship would be. Like, I might have felt like a friendship should go this way, and they might have felt like a friendship should go that way, but we never talked about that. We never talked about the expectations of our friendship, which is crazy. Why don't we do that? Why don't we talk about that? Because we do it in relationships. Well, I expect you to do this, or I'm the type of person to do that, and when I'm in a relationship, this is how I want it to go. That's how you know if you and that person are compatible. Why don't we do that with friendships? We just go along with the flow until the flow no longer moves, and then it stops. It's at a halt. So I just wanted to touch base, because I see that friends fall out. I see that things happen. I see that we think that, that friendships can't go through the things that relationships go through, but they definitely do. They definitely have their own set of problems. But you have to figure out where God has you right now to know if you can be a good friend. That's a word all on its own. Because when you decide to get out of a relationship and you just say, oh, I'm done dating, you break up with somebody, or you get divorced and you say, I'm just done dating, I'm just going to stay to myself, I need to find myself, I need to do this. Same thing with friendships. You need to figure out who you are, what kind of friend you want to be, so that you can attract the kind of friend that you want. And you can say, hey, I want a friendship like this, or you can pay attention. This is the type of friend I want to be. This is the type of, environment I want to be around. These are the type of people that resonate with me. And that's okay. That don't mean that you love them any less. Let me tell y'all something. I ended that friendship and I still love them. There is no love lost. When I tell you, I don't have time to hate nobody. I don't have time to hold grudges against somebody. I just don't have time. I'm trying to be everything that God called me to be. And one thing he don't want me to do is hold grudges, because that man forgive me and has forgiven me all my life. So who am I to try to hold a grudge and feel like I ain't gonna forgive nobody? Honestly, like, who am I? Who am I? I just wanted to say something about that, because I've seen it and I've dealt with it, and I know that it hurts. I know that going through different storms and different tests when it comes to friends, friendship, relationships, anything, when it comes to things like that, it hurts. It hurts when you feel like you have your friends back and they don't have yours. It hurts when you feel like you care more about that friendship than they did. It hurts when you feel like you've given your all to a person who could, put dirt on your face and act like you didn't exist. It all hurts. It hurts like no other. But there is a reason for everything. Because just like they could have did better, there might have been something that you could have did better. And you could have did something different. And maybe that just wasn't the people for you. Maybe that just wasn't the group for you. And that's okay too. Maybe you were trying to force something because you was tired of being alone. I've done that before. I'll meet somebody and we click the first 2 times and I'm like, oh, they cool. I wonder if we'll hang out again. And although they're not my friend, I have placed the expectation on them to contact me or for us to contact each other to go to lunch. And they might not even have felt like I was cool. But okay, well, they cool. And then I might get upset if they don't reach out to me like, dang, I thought we was cool. Like, what? Like, what? Did you make all this up? Like, did you just attempt to plan something out of your head and let it be what you wanted it to be? And it wasn't even that to begin with. We have to check ourselves. We have to know when it's time to check ourselves. And we have to know what's in the best benefit for us according to where God placed us at that moment. Because when I needed those friends, they was there for me because God knew that I needed them in that moment. But when he was trying to push me into a different moment, he removed those friends. And every time I would try to go back to be their friend again, like God was like, did you not hear what I said? Like every time a thought would even cross my mind and I'm like, well, maybe I didn't have to end it. He'll literally show me something. And I'll be like, okay. Like he was answering me in my head. In my head, I'll be like, maybe it's not bad. Maybe I should. And he'll be like, no. Like he would show me, like I said no. Like you being a hard-headed kid, like I said no. We want our kids to listen when we tell them no, and we need to listen to when God tells us no. Because this is another thing, we be so quick to do something, but did you even talk to God about that before you did it? You thought about it and you just ran with it. Did you ask him what he thought about it? Did you take the time to wait on his answer, or was you too impatient and you just did it anyway? Proverbs chapter 20 verse 18 says, plans are established by seeking advice. So if you wage war, obtain guidance. Sometimes we want to do what we want to do and we don't want to wait for God to tell us what we need to do when he knows the plans that he has for our lives. And we don't. We want to know. But do you really want to know? Like, I don't know if I want to know what happens tomorrow. Like, I just don't. Living day by day gives this feeling that God is continually walking with me. He knows what friends I need. He knows the friendships I need to develop. And sometimes we just want what we want, but we don't take the time to ask him what he has set aside for us. Everybody is not going to be who you want them to be. And also, you have to take accountability and responsibility about the fact you might be putting too much pressure on that friend. And it's okay to say, I was doing too much. Can we start over? And it's okay for them to say no. But at the end of the day, you have to know that friendships, they hurt just as much as anything else when they don't work out the way that they're supposed to. Because God says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return on their labor. 10 says, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. 11 says, also, if you lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? 12 says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. He wants you to have friends. He does. He just wants you to have the right friends. And the right friends might come at the wrong time. But if they're the right friends, they'll still be there when the timing is all but too perfect. So I just wanted to hop in and say, I love y'all. And sometimes I feel like I don't have friends. I know that I have a few, but where I'm going and where God has me placed and where I'm headed, I want to be able to have friends that I can talk to and they can understand what I'm saying. And eventually I'll find the friends that are for me. Crazy how I said God will place them in my life and then it'll be like, voila, I need to grow up. Anyway, I'm rooting for you to be able to feel your feelings, say what you need, and love your friends with all your heart. Because it's okay to fall out. It's also okay to know when a break is needed. All those things are needed in the same way that they are needed in a relationship. But you have to forgive your friends. You have to be able to express yourself to your friends without the fear of losing them. You just have to be able to know that God has a reason for everything. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But He wants you to give them as many chances as you can give them because he does it for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to let me know if you didn't and why you didn't. And we'll discuss. Because, baby, we friends. That's what friends do. I love you. I'll be back.